Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I rise at the urging of Republicans in the Florida delegation who are overwhelmingly supportive of the underlying legislation, but who seek to make it a little better by ensconcing some of the policy articulations of the Trump administration regarding where drilling can and cannot occur offshore into the body of the bill. There is no denying since President Trump left office, Joe Biden has overseen a collapse of U.S. energy dominance, and this legislation is a great first step to fulfill the Republican commitment to attack inflation and rising gas prices, and that begins by stopping playing politics with the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. On September 8th of 2020, President Trump issued a memo indicating that there would be certain areas off the shore of Florida and Georgia and South Carolina that would not be available for drilling leases. Offshore drilling is broadly opposed in coastal communities in these areas by local governments, many of which have submitted to President Trump previously and to congressional offices resolutions indicating their opposition to offshore oil drilling. They largely cite two reasons: environmental policy and the impact on property values in coastal communities. But I will speak to the impact of offshore oil drilling on the military mission in these areas. In the Gulf of Mexico test range, in the 10 years preceding my time in Congress, there were about 60 test sorties that the Air Force would run off the coast of Florida. Already scheduled for 2024, there will be over 240 of those test sorties, and that does not include the tremendous amount of testing that also occurs as a consequence of actions from the U.S. Navy, the United States Marine Corps, and other private sector partners. Moreover, just 6 years ago, off the coast of Florida, one could only take a 100-mile shot in air-to-air training, research, development, test, and evaluation. And due to the investment we have been able to make in the Gulf test range, in telemetry systems, in radar systems, we can now take a 425-mile shot. That's important because we need the capability to test component parts to hypersonic weapon systems and supersonic weapon systems so that America always holds the high ground. And my friends, there is no other place in the world where we do this testing. There is exquisite connectivity between offshore test ranges and onshore land ranges where we're able to do launch missiles and munitions over the sea and land them on land. There's nowhere else in the world we have the opportunity to do that, and it's odd that I have to continue to say this on the floor of the House, but it is a terrible idea to launch experimental missiles over oil rigs and the various ships that traverse back and forth to shore for the personnel and for the maintenance that's required to maintain those rigs. So there are a lot of great places where we can unlock the potential of our country to ensure that we have a sufficient strategic petroleum reserve, which is the essence of the bill. And this amendment gives my colleagues in Florida great comfort that none of the treatment of existing moratoriums would in any way harm coastal Florida, coastal Georgia, or coastal South Carolina. I urge the adoption of the amendment. I yield back.
The question is on the amendment offered by the gentleman from Florida. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to.